Hello, welcome to Phantom Homicide. Welcome back. Tonight we're taking a deep dive into something truly unsettling. It's hidden behind all that glamour of luxury travel.
Right, we're talking about cruise ships.
Exactly. Specifically, the mystery of passengers who just vanish, disappear without a trace from these massive floating cities.
It's a strange paradox, isn't it? How do you disappear when you're surrounded by thousands of people, miles of railings, and just water everywhere?
But it happens. And the conclusion, well, it's often far more chilling than you'd imagine. Vanishing might actually be easier than we think.
Yeah, disturbingly so.
So tonight we're focusing heavily on one case in particular. It's a cold case, 27 years old now. The disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley back in 1998.
A really high-profile one.
It is, but it's not just about her story, as tragic as it is. It's about the void left behind and how her case seems to be part of this wider pattern.
A pattern where evidence, accountability, it all just seems to evaporate once a ship hits the open water.
And a big part of that is what gets called the jurisdictional void, right, on the high seas.
Exactly. Once you're, 12 nautical miles out, the crime technically falls under the law of the ship's flag state.
Which is often some country miles away, totally disconnected from the passenger or where the incident happened.
Right. And there's no immediate police force rushing in. It's left to the cruise line's own security team to handle what is, potentially, a crime scene.
It creates this ambiguity, this gray area, perfect for foul play or just sweeping negligence under the rug.
And that context is crucial for understanding Amy's case. But like you said, it's not an isolated incident. We really need to grasp the scope here first.
Definitely. Her case didn't happen in a vacuum. Think about Kevin McGrath, just last year, 2023.
Oh, yeah, the guy on the Carnival ship, celebrating his dad's 60th.
That's the one. The family didn't even realize he was gone until they were getting off the ship in Miami. Panic stations.
And notice the timing again. Last seen late one night, key card used around 3:00 a.m. the next morning.
That window. 3:000 a.m. to 6:00 a.m. It keeps coming up in these cases, doesn't it?
It really does. It's often when security might be thinner, maybe fewer people around, less oversight on surveillance maybe.
And for McGrath, the Coast Guard searched, then suspended it. And here's the kicker.
No sign of him going overboard.
None. And those fancy sensors, the ones supposed to detect if someone falls off, they never went off.
Which makes you seriously question how effective that safety tech actually is. Tech that was mandated because of earlier cases.
It's deeply concerning. Then there's the George Allen Smith case from 2005. That one feels like something straight out of, well, Agatha Christie.
Oh, absolutely. The honeymoon cruise disappearance. Probably the most infamous one before Amy, maybe.
Could be. Married just 11 days, disappears. Witnesses hear a violent struggle in his cabin.
And the physical evidence. That's what makes it so chilling. Blood inside the cabin.
And outside too, right. Splattered on the side of the ship itself.
Yes. I mean, the implication is almost unavoidable. Foul play. A robbery gone wrong, maybe, and then disposal.
But even with physical evidence, there was still confusion. His new wife suggested maybe he just hurt himself accidentally, fell overboard after drinking heavily.
Well, other witnesses heard yelling, but described it more like a loud drinking game.
See, conflicting stories, potential protective statements, maybe even the cruise line muddying the waters, or just panic and alcohol.
The end result is the same, though. The truth gets lost, obscured.
And one more quickly for context. Rebecca Corium, 2011, a Disney Wonder crew member.
Right, last seen on CCTV, looked really distressed after a phone call in the crew lounge.
And the official explanation. A rogue wave washed her overboard.
Which was widely criticized because the sea conditions were reportedly normal, calm even.
No rogue wave weather, and the crucial security footage of this supposed wave incident.
Conveniently non-existent, or just missing.
Missing evidence, conflicting timelines, quick corporate explanations. It's the same pattern. And that sets the stage for Amy Lynn Bradley.
Okay, so let's really focus on Amy now. Segment 1. Her story, the last known timeline, March 24th, 1998.
To really get why her family is so convinced something sinister happened, you need to know who Amy was.
Yeah, she wasn't just anyone. She was 23, smart, just graduated from Longwood University.
And a really strong swimmer, right? Lifeguard training.
Yep. Very athletic, outgoing, about to start this great new computer consulting job. Her brother Brad called it her big girl life. She was excited.
And the puppy. That detail always gets me.
Oh, Daisy, the English bulldog, just 8 weeks old.
She just adopted her and was supposed to pick her up right when she got back from the cruise.
It just flies in the face of any idea that she'd willingly disappear or harm herself. You don't make plans to pick up a puppy if you're planning to vanish.
Absolutely not. And then there's the crucial detail about her fear.
This is so important. Yes, she was a lifeguard, comfortable in water like a pool.
But the ocean, the vast, open, unknown ocean.
Terrified her. Both her dad, Ron, and her brother Brad confirm this. She'd deliberately stand clear of the railings.
Keep that fear in mind when we talk about the theories later. It really undermines the simple fell overboard idea.
Okay, so let's trace that night. The ship is the Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas, heading to Curacao.
Amy's being social, interacting with people, including the guys in the ship's band, Blue Orchid.
Specifically the bassist, Alistair Douglas. His nickname was Yellow.
Right. So the evening goes on, festive atmosphere. Then things get specific.
Around 3:30 a.m., Amy and her brother Brad get back to their cabin. They'd been dancing. Amy had been dancing with Yellow earlier.
Okay, 3:30 a.m., back in the cabin. Now we hit that critical, confusing window, 3:30 a.m. to 6:00 a.m.
This is where it gets murky. At 5:30 a.m., Ron, the dad, wakes up. He sees Amy out on their cabin balcony.
Sees her, or thinks he sees her.
Well, he believes she was asleep or just sitting in the chair out there. He noticed two things.
Her shoes, sandals, were inside the cabin.
Right, but her cigarettes and lighter were gone, missing from where she usually kept them. Ron then goes back to sleep for a bit.
Okay, shoes inside, smoke's gone. Then he wakes up again.
About 30 minutes later, around 6:00 a.m., he looks out and Amy's gone. The sliding glass door to the balcony is open.
So the immediate thought is she went outside, maybe fell.
That would be the simple explanation, except eyewitnesses put her somewhere else entirely during that exact time frame.
Ah, okay. This is where it unravels.
Completely. Multiple witnesses saw her with Yellow between 5:30 a.m. and 6:00 a.m., while Ron thought she was on the balcony.
Who are these witnesses?
Two passengers, Lori and Crystal. They saw Amy and Yellow together riding one of those glass elevators up to an upper deck.
When exactly?
Between 5:30 and 6:00 a.m. They specifically saw Yellow hand Amy a drink, a brown-colored drink.
Wait, hold on. If Ron saw her on the balcony at 5:30, but Lori and Crystal saw her on the elevator with Yellow around 5:30, how does that work?
That is the million-dollar question. It means either Ron was mistaken about the time or maybe who he saw.
Or the witnesses were wrong about the time.
Or, and this feels more likely given what happened next, Amy was back in the cabin briefly. Maybe she came back after 3:30. Ron saw her at 5:30, but she wasn't asleep. Maybe she just popped back in.
Hop back to grab.
Her cigarettes, her lighter, and crucially, her room key. Things you'd grab if you were just stepping out for a moment.
To meet someone, like Yellow, up on the deck. Okay, that makes a grim kind of sense.
And the sighting continues. Lori, one of the witnesses, then saw Yellow walking away alone, briskly. About 15 minutes later, maybe 5:45 a.m., on that same upper deck.
So Amy last seen with Yellow, then he's seen walking away alone just before Ron realizes she's gone.
And there's more. A third witness, Elizabeth. Her testimony came out later, given to a grand jury.
What did she see?
She saw Amy and Yellow in the Viking Crown Lounge, that's the club up top, around 6 a.m. She specifically saw Yellow making Amy another brown drink.
Wow. Okay, so 3 witnesses, all placing Amy with Yellow on the top deck, drinking something he gave her right in that critical half hour before she vanished.
It's powerful testimony, so Ron starts searching immediately. Around 6 a.m., the family quickly does an inventory.
Room key,
Yeah.
gone. Cigarettes and lighter, gone.
But her ID, her passport, all her money, 9 other pairs of shoes, all left behind in the cabin.
That's not someone planning to run away or start a new life. That's someone expecting to come right back.
Exactly. You take your smokes and your key for a quick break. You leave your passport and shoes if you're returning in minutes.
But she didn't return. And she was last seen with a crew member drinking something, unidentified. That feels significant.
Hugely significant, and that takes us straight into the next awful chapter. The response, or lack thereof. Segment 2, the
Sure.
delays, the failures.
Right. Because the family didn't just sit there. They knew something was wrong immediately.
They were frantic. At 6:30 a.m., Ron, Iva, Brad, they're at the purser's desk, begging the crew.
Begging them to do what?
Stop people getting off the ship. Don't lower the gangplank in Curacao yet. Make a shipwide announcement now before potential witnesses disappear. It was the only logical thing to do.
And the crew's response?
Denied. They were told it was too early to make such an announcement. Can you believe that?
Too early. Someone's missing.
Exactly. And instead of holding people, they lowered the gangplank. Passengers started streaming off into Curacao. Witnesses lost forever.
It's just disastrous incompetence. Or worse.
Investigators later called it one of the biggest mistakes in cruise ship history. The first actual public announcement. Just a weak request.
Will Amy Bradley please come to the purser's desk?
Yeah, that didn't happen until 7:50 a.m. Nearly an hour and a half after the family first raised the alarm. Way too late.
The crucial window was gone, and the attitude from the cruise line.
Cold. Bureaucratic. The cruise director, Kirk Detweiler, even defended it later in the media.
Saying what?
Saying the cruise goes on.
Yeah.
And suggested the parents were, quote, out of touch with reality.
Out of touch, their daughter was missing. That's just callous.
It speaks volumes about priorities, doesn't it? Schedule over safety. The ship's own search didn't even start until after midday. Found nothing, of course.
But the external search, the Coast Guard.
That was thorough. The Dutch Caribbean Coast Guard searched for 4 days. Helicopters, radar planes, sea search. Absolutely nothing. No body, no clothing, no debris. Zero physical evidence of her going overboard.
And didn't the Coast Guard officers say something about the conditions?
Yes, and this is critical. They noted that given the water conditions near Curacao, the ship being close to shore for docking, a body should have surfaced or washed ashore fairly quickly.
The fact that nothing did.
Strongly suggests she didn't go into the water there. It supports the idea she was removed from the ship some other way.
And then there's the photos, the professional portraits.
Oh, this is one of the creepiest parts. Amy had photos taken on the cruise, formal night, captain's dinner, wearing a black dress, standard cruise stuff.
But when the family went to buy copies later,
they were gone. All of them. Vanished. The photo staff couldn't find any record of Amy's portraits.
how does that even happen? Those things are usually meticulously cataloged.
It implies someone had to go in and deliberately remove them. Systematically. An insider.
Someone with access to the photo lab system, trying to erase evidence of her presence. Or maybe who she was with in those photos.
It certainly points away from an accident and towards an inside job, doesn't it? Which brings us squarely back to the main suspect.
Alistair Yellow Douglas. Segment 3. Him and the security lapses surrounding him.
Yellow is absolutely central. Why? Because he lied. Provably lied.
About when he last saw Amy.
Yes. His official story to the authorities was he last saw her way earlier, around 1:00 a.m., clean break. Gives him an alibi for that critical early morning window.
But the ship's records,
Yeah,
the keycard data.
told a different story. It showed Yellow entered his own cabin at 3:35 a.m.
Okay, so not 1:00 a.m.
And he even told Brad, Amy's brother, specifically that he left Amy at 3:30 a.m. So he lied to authorities by over 2 hours. Why lie unless you have something to hide about that time?
As Brad said, you don't lie when you're telling the truth. Simple as that.
And the inconsistencies pile up when you look at the security interactions. Remember Ron, the father, was frantically searching early on.
He ran into the chief of security in a hallway around 7:00 a.m., right? Before the official alert went out at the purser's desk.
Exactly. Ron told him his daughter was missing. But here's where it gets really messy.
Yellow later claimed that security called him around 7:00 a.m.
Right. Yellow's story was security called him, asked if he had the girl he was dancing with in his room, and told him to stay put.
Okay. But what did the chief of security say?
His official report states he first learned about a missing passenger at 7:33 a.m. from the purser's desk. No mention of the 7 a.m. hallway chat with Ron.
So, someone's lying. Either Yellow made up the call from security,
Or the chief of security falsified his report, omitting the earlier encounter with Ron and pushing back the timeline of when he knew.
either way, it suggests security knew there was an issue involving Yellow and Amy before the official timeline acknowledges it. A potential cover-up.
It certainly looks like records might have been altered or suppressed, protecting the cruise line, protecting personnel, who knows?
And then Yellow shows up somewhere he shouldn't have been.
The pool deck confrontation. Bradley recounted this. Sometime between 7:30 and 8:00 a.m., just as people are disembarking.
Yellow walks up to Brad on the pool deck.
And says, hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your sister.
How would he even know the family was worried yet? Unless he was involved or security had already told him, contradicting the official report.
Precisely. And if his own story about being told by security to stay in his room at 7 a.m. was true, what was he doing out on the public pool deck?
It doesn't add up. And didn't he do something else weird then?
Yeah. He then apparently insisted that Brad repeat his whole timeline of the previous night to Yellow's companion, who Yellow called his brother.
That sounds like trying to get stories straight. Or gather intelligence. Really suspicious behavior.
The suspicion around him has never gone away. It's flared up again recently, partly thanks to that Netflix documentary.
Right, Amy Bradley is missing. That brought a lot of public attention.
Including from his own daughter. She apparently questioned him publicly about the case.
And she revealed something disturbing.
Very. She said that after that cruise, Yellow came home with a duffel bag. Inside, photos of women.
Photos of passengers, not just Amy.
That's the implication. It paints a picture of maybe a pattern, someone potentially grooming or targeting female passengers. It shifts him from maybe panic suspect to potential predator.
Chilling. And his polygraph test back in '98.
Inconclusive.
Yeah.
Not a pass, not a definitive fail, which, often happens when someone's trying to deceive but is maybe coached or very controlled. Doesn't prove anything, but doesn't help him either.
And throughout all this, the family felt the official investigation dropped the ball.
Bradley has been very critical of the FBI's early handling, especially with those key witnesses, Lori and Crystal.
The ones who saw Amy in yellow in the elevator.
Yes. The FBI apparently claimed they couldn't fully corroborate the girl's time frame, that 5:30 to 6:00 a.m. window.
But Brad pointed out a huge oversight, didn't he?
A fundamental one. The FBI apparently never interviewed Crystal's mother.
Why is the mother important?
Because the mother let the girls back into their cabin shortly after 6:00 a.m. because they didn't have their key. Interviewing the mother could have provided an external timestamp, confirming the girls were where they said they were, right after seeing Amy in yellow.
Wow. Missing that. That's basic investigative work. It could have solidified that sighting right at the start.
It's an astonishing lapse, Brad argues, and it potentially damaged the entire investigation from the outset.
Okay, so with all this, the lies, the security issues, the witness accounts, let's look at the main theories. Segment 4.
Right. Theory 1, accidental overboard. The simple explanation.
Statistically common, sadly. People do fall off cruise ships. Maybe she'd been drinking, was near the balcony. Occam's razor, some say.
But like we discussed, the counter-arguments for Amy are really strong.
Her swimming ability, yes, but more importantly, her fear of the open ocean. She wouldn't likely linger near the rail.
Plus, the ship's location close to shore, preparing to dock. The Coast Guard saying a body should have been found.
And the complete lack of physical evidence. No body, no clothes, no blood, nothing.
And Brad's point about the cabin layout, the table pushed against the door, not the railing. An accidental stumble seems unlikely from that setup.
So, accident overboard seems shaky at best for Amy. Theory 2.
Voluntary disappearance or suicide. This one ranks pretty low, maybe 7% probability in some analyses.
The initial whispers were maybe she was stressed or something about her sexuality.
But the family shuts that down hard. She was happy, excited about her new job, excited about her puppy Daisy.
And critically, she left behind everything she'd need to start a new life or even survive. ID, passport, money, shoes.
You don't leave those things if you're running away.
Hmm.
And the sexuality angle. Brad clarified that the family had known she was Biggie since 1995. It wasn't some new, shocking revelation causing turmoil. It was accepted.
So motive for suicide or running away seems non-existent, which leaves...
Theory 3, abduction and human trafficking. This is the theory the family believes strongly, and many analysts give it a much higher probability, maybe around 45%.
Based on
the suspicious attention from crew members like Yellow beforehand, the lies, being last seen with him, and crucially, the multiple alleged sightings of her after the disappearance.
And the location, Curacao. It has a reputation, unfortunately.
It's known as a port with trafficking risks, yes. The mother, Iva, specifically recalled finding the attention Amy got from Yellow and other waiters odd. Invitations to go ashore with them, it felt like targeting.
Like trying to isolate her. And being led away by a crew member who then lies about it. That points strongly towards coercion, a planned removal.
And this leads to one of the strangest, most intriguing tangents in the whole case.
The Scientology ship.
The Freewinds. It's Scientology's main ship, and it's actually headquartered right there in Curacao.
And it travels between Curacao, Aruba, Barbados.
All places where Amy was later allegedly sighted.
Okay.
So while Ron and Ava are desperately searching Curacao, frantic...
Officers from the Freewinds approach them.
Yes, offering grief counseling. Which sounds okay, maybe.
But it got weird.
Very weird, according to the family. The counseling involved strange exercises, like asking them to finish sentences like, "Now that you've lost Amy, tell us something you haven't lost." Felt manipulative, not comforting.
And they asked really specific questions about Amy.
Bizarrely specific. Did Amy smoke? What brand? Did she drink beer? What kind? Favorite snacks? Favorite soda?
Why would grief counselors need to know her favorite soda?
Exactly. Bradley found it incredibly suspicious. It sounded less like counseling and more like reconnaissance, gathering detailed personal habits. Why?
To create a profile. Help locate her. Help keep her hidden. It's unnerving.
Especially since the ship's known travel routes match the future sighting locations. It doesn't prove anything, but it's a very odd coincidence, adding another layer of strangeness to the port environment.
So the abduction theory really hinges on those later sightings, doesn't it? Which
Yeah.
brings us to segment 5, the sightings and the awful financial toll.
The sighting started almost immediately after she vanished. March 1998, the very day the ship docked in Curacao.
The cab driver.
Right. Claimed he saw a young woman, barefoot, looking frantic, desperately trying to find a phone. Recognized her distinctive green eyes from the reward posters later. Never fully corroborated, but the timing, potent.
And then a few months later, August 98.
2 Canadian divers, again in Curacao at Playa Puerto Marie. They see a woman who looks like Amy with 2 men.
And she had tattoos matching Amy's.
Yes, including the Tasmanian devil. And crucially, her behavior. She seemed like she wanted to approach the divers, talk to them.
But the men stopped her.
Motioned her away, silenced her. Classic signs of someone being controlled.
Then the most famous one, the brothel sighting, January 1999.
U.S. Navy Petty Officer William Hefner claims he was in a brothel, again in Curacao. A woman approached him.
Said her name was Amy Bradley.
Yes, and pleaded for hype. Said she was being held against her will, couldn't leave. Mentioned something about coming ashore for drugs and getting trapped.
An absolutely bombshell sighting, if true, but
The reporting lie. Hefner waited 3 years until he retired from the Navy in 2002.
why wait so long?
He said he feared the career repercussions. Being disciplined for being in a brothel, losing rank, losing pension money, self-preservation kicked in.
And by the time he finally reported it and the FBI went to investigate,
The building was gone, burned down. Any potential evidence, witnesses, obliterated. A direct consequence of that delay.
it's heartbreaking. And the pattern continued. March 2005, Barbados.
Tourist Judy Marr sees a woman in a department store restroom. Distressed. Looks like Amy, with 3 controlling-looking men waiting outside.
And the woman whispered something.
Whispered her name was Amy, and she was from Virginia. Amy was from Petersburg, VA. Again, a desperate, fleeting plea.
And Mara also delayed reporting.
For 8 months. Until she saw the case featured on Dr. Phil. Her reason. She just didn't know what to do, who to call, didn't feel she could intervene with strangers. The bystander effect in action.
It's awful. Then came the photos.
Jazz photos. 2005, emailed anonymously to the family. 2 pictures of a woman, scantily clad, looking, well, rough, distraught, despondent, on what looked like a sex worker website.
And the resemblance to Amy.
Striking. But back in 2005, the FBI's tech apparently couldn't definitively confirm it was her. Low resolution, maybe?
But more recently, with better facial recognition.
Experts now say it's highly likely to be Amy.
And nobody has ever come forward saying, hey, that's me, Jaws, not Amy Bradley.
Nope. That silence is telling. If it wasn't Amy, you'd expect the real Jaws, or someone who knew her, to speak up eventually, given the publicity. The lack of denial adds weight to the possibility it was her.
It's all so grim. And amidst all this hope and despair, the family was targeted by a scammer.
The Frank Jones episode in 1999, utterly cruel. He pretended to be an ex-Navy SEAL, a rescuer.
Convinced the family he could get Amy back.
And they paid him. Over $200,000. Desperate hope. He even sent them fake photos, doctored pictures of some other woman with tattoos drawn on to keep the money flowing.
Pure evil, exploiting their agony.
He was eventually caught, sentenced for mail fraud. But the Bradleys never got their money back. It just shows the terrible vulnerability of families in these situations.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's wrap up with the aftermath, the legacy. Segment 6.
So where does it stand out? Officially, the FBI case is still open. That's important. It's not a closed cold case or presumed death.
They still have a reward out.
$25,000 from the FBI for information leading to her return or an arrest. The family offers much more, $250,000, for her safe return. The fact it's still active suggests the FBI doesn't fully buy the simple overboard theory either.
The family sued Royal Caribbean back in '99, right?
They did. It brought out the fact that there had been over 100 reported sightings, though most were quickly dismissed as unverified.
But the suit didn't succeed.
No, the judge eventually dismissed it, accused the family essentially of cherry-picking the evidence, focusing only on sightings suggesting duress, ignoring others that might hint at her leaving voluntarily, however weak that theory seems. A tough blow.
But Bradley hasn't given up.
Not at all. He's become a major advocate. The Netflix doc helped generate thousands of new tips. He's pushing politicians through Project Miata,
And the Amy Alert petition, what's that about?
trying to get an Amber Alert style system mandated for cruise ships. Immediate alerts when someone goes missing to stop that catastrophic delay that happened in Amy's case, where witnesses just walk off the ship.
It makes so much sense. Did Amy's case lead to any changes already?
It did, partly. Her case, along with George Smith's, was a major catalyst for the Cruise Vessel Security and Safety Act of 2010, the CVSSA.
What did that mandate?
Things like better security latches on cabin doors, time-sensitive key cards, requirements for technology to detect or capture images of people going overboard.
And crime scene preservation training for crew. Video surveillance.
All mandated by the CVSSA. It was a step, a big step on paper.
But the but is cases like Kevin McGrath last year, still vanishing without those overboard sensors triggering.
Exactly. It suggests there are still gaps. Maybe the tech isn't foolproof. Maybe it's not implemented consistently across all ships or lines. The problem hasn't entirely gone away, despite the law.
So it comes back to that core conflict. The ship's rush to keep moving, keep the schedule.
Versus the terrifying reality that someone might have been deliberately taken, with evidence pointing to lies from crew and maybe even efforts to erase her presence.
The high seas. Still a place where laws feel murky, accountability feels optional sometimes.
And witnesses hesitate. That's the other huge takeaway. The fear, the confusion, the bystander effect.
Think about Hefner, the Navy officer. Or Moore, the tourist, waiting months, years to report what they saw because of fear or just not knowing what to do.
The vastness of the ocean seems matched only by the silence of those who might hold the key.
It leaves you with that unsettling question, doesn't it? Put yourself in that position. A stranger, distressed, whispering for help in some foreign port. What would it take for you to overcome your own fear, your own inconvenience, maybe even risk your career to step in?
It's easy to say you would, harder to know for sure.
Okay, so we hope you liked our today's discussion. For more such discussions, subscribe to our channel, Phantom Homicide.